Band-Aids on bullet holes. Brandon Gentili here. How to make sense of this world. Over 35 years of my life, the same pattern continues to show up over and over. This is a very, very important episode. Please read this all the way through. It's only a few minutes long. And this shows you the correct lenses to put on. I am very nearsighted, and I can only see further than about 5 feet in front of me once I put my glasses on. And this is the reason most people have a very hard time figuring out what's going on in the world. And truthfully, really at the end of the day, why people have a hard time becoming financially free, why they have a hard time figuring out the governments and why they're doing crazy things, figuring out why it is their children are learning insane things inside their kindergarten classroom, figuring out why it is we just keep giving 20 military bills without asking anybody in trillions of dollars, billions of dollars, and then bailing out trillions of dollars over to proxy wars and real wars, whether it's Afghanistan, Iraq, or Ukraine, wherever. This is why. This is why. So please read this through. If you do not understand the lens, the glasses, the right glasses to put on, you will not see life clearly. It's like me trying to go play football or go play baseball or go play hockey without my glasses on. I'm going to have a hard time. So please listen to this. Please read through this, and please let me know your thoughts at the end of the day. This is everything I have seen. Like I said, in 35 years, these patterns continue to show up over and over again in successful people. And again, it's something that I use in the way I see life and the way I operate my life to give me increasing success, whether it's my wealth, just the way I formulate ideas in business or what I did in sports, to play at professional levels, to have a business and investments that continually grow and basically double each year, CAGR, cumulative average growth rate, each year, a compound annual growth rate. Building foundations of rock and not of sand. That's it. This is it. And we're going to get into the second part of this in a few minutes, but that is it. And it means living in reality. It means not lying to yourself, living with truth. What is truth? Everyone's truth might be different. However, there are truth principles we need to live by. It's easier said than done. And how do you begin to travel down that road? That's the question. And again, this is from the Bible, biblical. Everyone who then hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Matthew chapter 7. Everything, this is it, everything you study, believe, and subsequently do should be through first principles. First principles, the laws of thermodynamics, generalized principles, nature's law, and or God's laws, whether it's the commandments or whatever it may be. If you're operating off the commandments and then you're operating off of nature's law, off of actual flipping science, not conjured up science from the World Economic Forum or from a think tank over here and over there, a political person over here, actual 2 + 2 = 4, actually understanding the laws of the universe work so perfectly. I think it was Werner von Braun that said the laws of the universe work so perfectly that we can time the moon landing within a fraction of a second, because we know the gravity is 9.8 meters per square per second. We know these things and many other bedrock principles of life and science and math. We know these things to be true. Ironically, that's why Bitcoin is so incredible, because it's based off of math. All it is, #learn math, as Greg Foss would say. But not to get into that here and today. This is the principles we must live our life by. We must be able to see the governments through the lenses, which we'll talk about again in here in a minute. This is part 2 of that conversation. But if we do not operate under the assumption that 2 + 2 = 4, or that there are, we'll say 2 GENDERS, we don't understand these things, we're now going backwards in life. We're now regressing. We're not progressing, we're regressing, and we're trying to have to recreate the wheel here. So we had the wheel, we had fire. We don't need to recreate fire, because that's part of the laws of the universe. We don't need to recreate the wheel, because that's just part of the laws of thermodynamics as well, and generalized principles. We don't need to go back and recreate that, because now if we do, we're regressing humanity. Now we're going backwards. Now we can't build off a solid foundation, a solid bedrock. That's the problems we're seeing now today. But as we get into part 2 here, so this is how you fix your life and how you go forward, and how I've done this for 35 years and created massive success in my life. I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm well on my way. I'm well on my way of getting my family there, being the leader of my family and the people around me, because I live and operate off of these principles. I've often asked myself, why is it that I think differently than so many people? And quite honestly, there's a lot of people I don't get along with in life. And I have a small group, a unit, a fire team, and people around me. Not 4 people, but a few dozen people that I keep in my life. I don't have a billion friends because I don't get along with a billion people. Most people don't think this way. They want to lie to themselves every single day, unfortunately. They want to live off of anything but first principles, anything but generalized principles. They want to make up their own principles. They want to make up their own rules of life. That's not how life works, unfortunately. Again, everything I've witnessed, everyone I've witnessed in 35 years of life who operates under this premise of these laws up here above, I found that it is inevitable, if they continue working and taking action, that they eventually become successful. It is inevitable that they become successful in their body, being, balance, and business, as Garrett White would say in Wake Up Warrior. Leading men to be men. And that works for women as well. Proof of work. Put in the time each day and focus like a laser to not dissipate your reach and become the best version of yourself possible. God is a rewards-based God, not a needs-based God. God doesn't give you things just because you are in need. Again, sorry, my microphone's not on. He doesn't give you things because you're in need. He gives you talents, and it's up to you to figure out how to provide value and give back to society. Then you are rewarded once you put in the work. That's it. We live in a world of ever-growing proof of stake individuals who want to just show up, roll out of bed, and be given things because of their previous performance, their privilege. Think of the central bankers. Think of the globalists, the world elites, the alphabet soup of agencies who think they're just the honorable so-and-so, and they've been told their whole life or for however long they've been in power that they are the honorable this and that. I would venture to say that that is exactly opposite. Are they showing up and being their best every single day? No. Why would they? They're not incentivized to do that. Again, I grew up in a world where you were only as good as your last shift. That's it. Maybe as your last game, your last shift. Every second mattered. You had to perform. You had to compete every game, every shift, every second, I should say, every time. And again, this is the difference between proof of work and proof of stake. And this is the battle between Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies out there. Bitcoin, there's every other cryptocurrency, all this other garbage out there. This is the difference between people who work off first principles and then those who try to make up their own rules of life. This is the end game right here. This is the proof of work are the people that are saying we need gold or we need Bitcoin, a standard, a finite control experiment. And then the proof of stake are all the unproductive class people. They're all the people that want handouts. They want to roll out of bed every day and do nothing for the world and just expect to be given things. They expect to just show up every day. I'm going to go on TV and say whatever I want. I'm going to lie to your face. I'm going to do nothing. I'm not going to move society at all forward. I'm going to take your tax money and live off of it, or whatever it is, your global tax, whatever you're paying, your state tax, your government, federal tax, and I'm just going to live my life high in the hog, flying around to Davos, flying around to parties here and there, flying around the world, suing whoever I want to make their life miserable so I can get ahead in my life. You name it. All the garbage you see out there, that's proof of stake, people. That's how they operate. That's how all the proof of stake coins operate. It's based off of how much do you have. He who has the gold makes the rules. How much do you have? You get benefited the most, and it's centralized, and it can be corrupted. Proof of work is not anything but. You own the most Bitcoin, doesn't matter. You still have the same say as other people who own one Satoshi. You still the same as a person who owns a quadrillion Satoshis. Doesn't matter. You all have the same say. Decentralized, immutable, incorruptible, can't be confiscated when it's in cold storage. That's the difference. This is the society. This is the fight of society, the cultural fight. Again, proof of stake is the old fiat system we are shedding right now. That's what they're trying to recreate in all these altcoins, Ethereum and everything. Proof of work, Bitcoin, is actual life. It's reality. Its gravity is 9.8 meters squared per second. This is what keeps the competition level and quality of the game high. When you have to compete every shift or else you don't play. When you have to put in work, you have to put in value, or you don't live. You don't get fed. Your family doesn't feed itself. That's what keeps the quality high and the price is low and the standard of living up for everyone. That's capitalism. That's free market capitalism. Sound money. We have anything but that. That's proof of work. Sound money. I have to go dig for that gold. I have to go dig for that silver. Actually physically expend energy to go get that done. I have to go mine Bitcoin. I actually have to expend energy to go get that Bitcoin. You can't do that in the proof of stake world. It's the he who has the gold makes the rules. It's the whoever's corrupted the system makes the rules. It's whoever's slept with the right person, whoever's in bed with the right person, whoever's made friends with the right people, they win in a proof of stake system. That's a fiat system we have right now. Again, we must show the proof of work being done in order to obtain the rewards from God. He will not give us things just because we need them. We have to do the work. Again, I have to reiterate, this competition, proof of work, competing at your highest level every shift, every second of every game you're playing, that's what keeps the quality of that game high. Because you can't let it down, or else you suffer. Everything suffers. This is the difference between proof of work and proof of stake. In life, it's a microcosm of life. I've witnessed much of society thinking they can just roll to bed, like I said, at noon, vote for themselves, a living through politicians, stimmy checks, triple unemployment, monthly paychecks, everything, without doing the work. That game is over. That game is done. That inflationary monetary system cannot work, cannot solve anything, as we've seen, and it's crumbling. Go look at the European central banks, the Bank of England, everything crumbling around us. The Federal Reserve, completely out of control, have no idea what's going on. That's the world. This is part 2, how to decipher the language of the unproductive class. So that's how to fix yourself. That's how to do what you need to do as a person to fix yourself in your life. And this is how to see what's going on and make sure you're making the right decisions, voting for the right people, and doing the things that need to be done in order to take your family to the next level. This is how to read the writing on the wall. Thomas Sowell, one of my favorites ever, one of the best men ever, talking about politics, history, monetary history, whatever it is. He is one of the best. You have to read him and his books. He has so many books. One of the common failings among honorable people is a failure to appreciate how thoroughly dishonorable some other people can be and how dangerous it is to trust them. Boy, is that not the reason why we have the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution? It's to limit those evil people, because governments always are attracting evil people who want power, always. And it brings out the worst in people. So even if you go to government, not a bad person, we'll say, quote unquote, it brings out the worst in people. That's what governments do. That's the very nature of government itself. And until people realize that, it's not just Brandon saying it, one of the greatest philosophers really ever, one of the common failings among honorable people, good people, like all of us, the 99%, is a failure to appreciate how thoroughly dishonorable some other people can be and how dangerous it is to trust them. So many people I talk to say, well, I can't believe that the government would do that to us. Well, I can't believe that they would not have their best interests at heart. Well, believe it. Believe it. There's people way smarter than any of us saying this, studying this for decades, centuries. Our founding fathers set up the government purposely. So Barack Obama, people like him, couldn't have power to destroy your life individually by himself. Barack Obama himself, the constitutional lawyer, literally said, and again, he's one that said it, many people that think like him in government. And he said, well, the Constitution is a charter of negative liberties, what the government can't do to you. Because like it was a bad thing. Yeah, of course it is, Barack. That's what it's for. It's to protect the people from people like you. So you can't destroy our lives. And we're doing everything we can over the last handful of decades to destroy every last shred of the Constitution, protecting people from the governments. And the governments have been brainwashing people for so long through the education system, through the media, through academia, whatever it is, that you need them to live. No, they need us to live. We work for ourselves and they work for us. That's how it goes. The government needs us to live. That's it. In order to make sense of the government's moves and the global leaders and all the alphabet soup organizations, you have to put on your control glasses. Here you go. You got to put on your control glasses. The reason the unproductive class are doing things is not for your benefit or because they care about inflation or helping the climate or helping the average person, as evidenced by the Davos jets spewing carbon into the air every second of every day. These people are flying around to meet each other and spewing carbon into the air and whatever the heck else it is, because they just have to do this and they're more important than us. So they have to get together to hobnob and have drinks and do whatever it is they do together. They have to do that. That's more important. That's the important thing. That has to get done in order to fix said thing that they're talking about. I mean, I'm just a hockey player. I'm no intelligent person, but boy oh boy, please read that again. They do not. The unproductive class is there. They tell you their intentions are to do these things, but they never happens. Never, ever. When does this ever happen? Every move the unproductive class makes has to be looked at through the lens of power and control. That's the glasses to put on. Your power and control glasses. Now you can see everything they do very clearly. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, yeah, the Department of Homeland Security creating that. Oh yeah, the Patriot Act. If you put on your power and control lenses, now you can see why they did that. Oh, now we have the power to spy on citizens. Oh, that'll just be used for certain people. Don't worry. Well, now it's being used on all of us. So good job. That's great work by all of us for letting that happen. So again, now it comes very clear to see what's going on. Immediately becomes clear. They want control and to crush the middle class and the poor. So they beg for more handouts and bills to be passed. They don't care. They could give a rat's about you and me and how we're doing and this and that other thing. And they just tell you, we want to give you stimulus checks because we care about you. No, that just makes inflation even worse. That just makes you beg for your government even more. That just makes you more dependent. That gives you less liberty in your life. They know that. Now they get more power. It takes power away from you and gives it to them. That's all it is. But then they sell it to you in this gift wrapped basket of, oh, hey, look, we care about you. And then people just, yes, okay, give me more. In absolute insanity. This is absolute insanity. And again, when in reality, if we had deflation, if we had a finite money, a Bitcoin standard, let's say, the standard of living would go up. Everyone would get better instead of having to be a slave to the system and just begging and pleading and trying to vote for a lifestyle that just keeps diminishing and diminishing. And that's a race to the bottom, which we're in now, the inflationary monetary system. Unbelievable. Again, translation, more power for the government as more people become dependent on them and less liberties for all. Life becomes clear, again, once you see governments and global organizations through the lens of power and control. Karl Marx envisioned all this in 1848 with the Communist Manifesto and wrote about this. We've done unlimited videos on this about why they are doing what they're doing, how they're going to do it. And again, here's some examples of the clown world. Out of control inflation, and I thought I put it in here, but everything they do is backwards. Everything they say is absolutely backwards. Everything. And we talk about it actually down here in the second paragraph. But out of control inflation, we're going to print more currency, actually, and increase spending, i.e. Inflation Reduction Act. And we'll tax the businesses, the producers, so they produce less, and give out stimmies, like we just talked about, to the consumers. So there's now more inflation because of the increased demand and less supply. Well, that makes sense. You want to improve health the last 2 years and keep people healthy? Well, we're going to lock you in your cage instead of letting you go outside, and don't take vitamins and get a mask. No, do get a mask. Wait, no, don't get a mask. Yes, get a mask. I mean, what are we doing? We've unheard Russia. So they sanction them, which only then hurts the Europeans and all others who utilize Russian commodities, which is literally, half the world, more than half the world? Genius move there. War on poverty. We give out wealth. So those are those last three, the current day examples. Here's some kind of past examples. So again, it knows no boundaries. It's been going on for a long time, is my point. We give out welfare and food stamps and train people to live off the government like zoo animals, creating more dependency and poverty. Oh, and we incentivize women to have children out of wedlock by giving them more money for every child. That makes sense. Let's see how that turned out with half the kids in the country with growing up in fatherless homes. Awesome. I wonder what Garrett White has to say about that and how that's turned out. So how can anyone argue that life is now better 50 years later after we've done many of these things? War on poverty, war on terrorism, the war on drugs, all these things. War on terrorism, again, not a dent made to terrorism around the globe. Only $7 trillion wasted and thousands of lives destroyed. So that's congrats there. Great work, military industrial complex, and people on the left and the right that, Bush and Cheney, all those guys, and Barack Obama for doing all that, and Joe Biden, Donald Trump, everyone. Just awesome work, guys. Currency collapsing. We'll print even more currency to bail out hedge funds. So you got a currency collapsing? Don't worry. We're going to print even more money to bail out all the big guys, the unproductive class, the rent seekers, hedge funds, banks, pensions, which are going bankrupt, which, like we said the other day, you will get your pensions and all that. Don't worry, guys. You'll get your Social Security, your pensions. They're all bankrupt, but you'll get it. You'll still get your $1,000 a month, your $2,000 a month. However, gallon of milk gallon of gas is going to be $20, $50. So you'll still get your $2,000 you owed each month, but life's going to be $1,500, 1,000 times more expensive. So hopefully that $2,000 a month does you well. Again, unbelievable. Making the currency then, because the currency collapsing, this will make the currency less desirable and collapse it even more. So that'll be wonderful as well. Again, and then we only want truth. Here's another one. It's kind of a current day thing. We only want truth, no misinformation. So we're going to have the Ministry of Truth. We're going to create government boards and everything. And we're going to actually, because of that, or what we're going to do is create fact-checking panels and have the newspapers in bed with us and big tech in bed with us. And we're going to fact-check or cancel anything that stymies our narrative or any shred of public discourse. So what better way to create a better, higher standard of living when you just cancel out half of the discourse? So now we're, again, like we said earlier, proof of stake thinking. That's fiat thinking. Proof of stake meaning, well, I have power, so like I get to say what's going on, like a king. When you actually have competition, that actually means the best idea succeeds. So the best ideas, the best people, the best guy out there, best players, having the best shift, having the best game, having the best season, he gets paid the most. He excels the most, just like in a football game or in a football league, like the NFL or NHL. The best people, they have the best shifts over and over again, they have the best games, which then leads to the best season, they get paid the most. The cream rises to the top. The elevation of the competition continues going higher instead of everyone getting worse. No one would watch the NFL if it was just proof of stake. If it was, you know what, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Joe Montana, you know what, you guys are all the best guys in the game, so we're going to make a league of all you guys, all because you're proof of stake guys. You had this career back in the day, and we're going to pay you $20 million, $40 million, $60 million a year to go play a game. Well, guess what? How many people will watch that game today if all of them played right now? Every single one of them. Not many people watch. You get a few. Not many, though. They wouldn't be making billions and billions and billions of dollars because no one wants to see them. Because proof of stake means nothing. What you did yesterday means nothing. It's what are you going to do today? What work are you going to put in today? That's the insanity. That's how our governments operate. Absolute insanity. Band-aids on bullet holes. Lastly, everything the government does is a short-term fix. Band-aids on bullet holes because politicians always want to get reelected. Rule number one of a politician, get elected. Rule number two, get reelected. And again, if you see it through those lenses of that, rule number 1 and 2 of politicians, and then power and control, that's it, which they obviously go into each other. That is how you need to see these things. You cannot, please, if there's one thing out of everything that I do, it's please understand that politicians could care less about you. They could care less about your family. All they care about is themselves and how they can get ahead. That is it. That is it. I mean, it's very simple. Why don't we have term limits for Congress? They're not going to vote themselves their own term limits in, right? Because they want power and control. I mean, this is so simple. The government is the addict who keeps taking short-term hits to fix the cravings instead of fixing the foundational problems. And we're in society. We're doing that as a whole. We do that as people. We do that as families. We don't fix the foundational problems. We just kind of keep slapping out these band-aids on bullet holes. A good rule of thumb is that every name a government gives a bill, you can expect the exact opposite outcome. Every time. Every time a central banker says something, you can expect the exact opposite thing to happen. Every time. Like clockwork. Whether it's government or your own life, we must take action to build a solid foundation of 2 + 2 = 4. If we can run our lives like that, with truth, with generalized principles, with first principles, we're going to get a lot farther in life. If you take the foundation you are building your life on and start making it with pancake mix instead of concrete mix, you won't go very far. We must come to grips with reality. Only then can we begin to understand, only then can we begin to understand why culture continues to falter. Our models and foundation is broken. I shouldn't say are broken. It will take men and women of conviction and stand and start doing. Stay strong. Please, if you got some out of this, please share. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, how we can improve, how we can get better, how we can provide a better value for you going forward. I appreciate your time and energy. It's the most important asset we have. We will see you in the next one. Again, please, 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 if you got something else, please like and subscribe, and please share it out to people who might be on the fence, who might be thinking these things, but don't know how to say them, don't know how to relay them. Please, please get this out and share it. We'll see you on the next one.